quality. A tricky speech for a Prime Minister to make. A tricky speech because it's so easy to get it a bit wrong. You saw the rather old-fashioned look across the face of the Duke of Edinburgh when Tony Blair said that as Prime Minister he had insight into the royal family. We thought the Duke of Edinburgh looked just for a moment a bit alarmed.
Pray silence for grace by the chaplain to the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor.
So, as grace is said, we come back here to Buckingham Palace. And the Queen, incidentally, I didn't mention her speech, and no reason why I should have anything more to say that she said so well about it. But it is interesting, I think, once again, the Queen using the opportunity to stress the family. There's been a lot written about the difficulties of the family. The Prime Minister referred to vicissitudes and all that. But every time the Queen has a chance, she draws attention, as she did there, to what the Duke of Edinburgh had done, and particularly to what Prince Charles had done, and how proud she was of him and the family around. So the family is very much close together. The press say all sorts of things about them, but clearly from the Queen's point of view, the royal family is intact, and as she would see it, strong too. So, those are the speeches, and the rest of the afternoon is given over, let's be truthful, to fun. We've got processions going to come down the Mall. I don't know when the first one's starting. There's a huge crowd out here now. It's almost as big. It is as big, actually, as it was last night when the pop concert was on. And we've got 5 quite separate processions. First one, the famous, normally it's held in August, Notting Hill Carnival. And Sophie Rayworth is with some of the leading members of that
indeed.
procession.
Look at this lot. This is the Trimbago Carnival Club, and they're down here. We're right down by the embankment. They're all waiting to go. They're not leaving for another few minutes yet, but a lot of this lot have never been in carnivals before, and they are extremely excited about it. Let's come over here to some of the organisers. It's fantastic, this, James. Now, how long have you been preparing for this?
All year round we've been doing this.
All year round?
At least 6 months.
And you've been taking part in the Notting Hill Carnival for years, haven't you?
Since I was born, really.
Since you were born, really? Last 29 It's a fantastic atmosphere already.
It's a lovely atmosphere. We really love to be here.
Now, you lot are very excited, aren't you?
Yeah!
What are you most excited about?
Dancing. The Queen!
You're going to see the Queen, aren't you? What will you do when you see the Queen?
I'll be shouting and screaming.
Dancing, shouting and screaming. I think you're all going to be waving, aren't you?
Yeah.
A lot of them, this is the first time, isn't it, that they've been in the carnival?
No, these have taken part since we've been born. Yeah, all year round, yes.
What does it mean to you all to be doing this? I mean, on this particular weekend?
I don't know. It's so wonderful that, that we can take part and be part of this occasion. It's really lovely.
Wonderful. All right, go on, give us a quick move. Go on. And in.
The members of the royal family who've had lunch at St James's Palace are coming down the Mall now, while Sophie's talking to the people they're going to see in a moment. Prince Harry going over to the crowd with his detective behind him. And the group that are going to be here, Prince of Wales, the 2 princes, the Duke of York, Princess Anne also. They've all walked down from their lunch party. Prince Harry, who's a schoolboy, studying for his A-levels. Prince William, who's at St Andrews University in Scotland now. And Prince Charles, who spoke about his mother yesterday, and whose work with the Prince's Trust, the Prime Minister paid tribute to in that speech at Guildhall. Well, they seem to be enjoying themselves here. You'll remember the Duke of Edinburgh famously said, when asked what he was looking forward to most about the Queen's 50th Jubilee celebrations, said August, which is when it'll all be over. We're told, incidentally, the numbers have now risen from 100,000 earlier this morning to well over 500,000 here in London, according to police figures. 700,000 people, they say, have come to the centre of London for this. The Earl of Wessex, Commodore Lawrence, Princess Royal, who's now changed from her smart military uniform into white hat and elegant white suit with an umbrella, suitably. And way up at the other end of the Mall, where Horse Guards join in, the start of the Notting Hill Carnival. This is the first of the parades. Admiralty Arch behind them, Trafalgar Square behind that. And they begin their procession down towards Buckingham Palace. Hi there. Now, are you... Well, during the afternoon I'm going to be joined here in the studio by people who've been directly involved in creating this carnival and the other parades that follow. And I'm being joined at the moment by Greta Mendez and Geraldine Connor, both of whom are... You look as if you're dressed for carnival yourself. Yes. Now, just give us a quick insight and then perhaps we'll talk about it. What carnival is all about? Why it's here to celebrate the Jubilee?
Well, Carnival in actual fact is a street parade, but what is even more important, it is actually a celebration, it's a spectacle, just like what the royal family is doing. It's all about hierarchical structures, kings, queens, male, female individuals. So it's actually very appropriate for it to be on the streets of the Queen's Jubilee.
And has it been designed to tell different stories or to reflect different attitudes? How do you create a great... I mean, you're going to be at the whole length of the Mall soon, aren't you?
Yes. many ideas brought together under one theme, and they're mini themes that explore issues of spirituality, issues to do with the Jubilee itself, then the fantasy side of Carnival,
and also the Commonwealth. In actual fact, celebrating the Commonwealth, because the Queen has been such a fundamental part of keeping the Commonwealth alive. So that's actually important. I saw you on your screen a few moments ago, but I'm not seeing it there. A fantastic costume, which really encompasses, what the Carnival is a celebration.
Now what is that? It's wonderful.
It's called the Queen Carnival Crown. It actually looks at the Carnival crown of the Queen, and it shows her leadership, how she, in actual fact, that crown represents the Queen and her leadership and the light that comes out of that.
And this one, with the feathers?
What is this now? This is actually from, that looks very much at the Aztec Indians and looks at the circularity of life. And as you see, the circle of what's going on there. And behind that,
well, behind that crowd, let's join Philippa Forrester. She's down there actually walking with them. Philippa.
Ooh, we are down here. We're just beginning to feel the rhythm after what feels like such a long way. Come with me, because I think I've spotted the youngest carnival member, everyone wearing white to celebrate the spiritual roots of the Caribbean Carnival that is the Notting Hill Festival. Hello, my darling. I don't think she's going to say much. How old is she? 2.5. 2.5. Do you think she's the youngest person here? I think she is. I've got to dive out so I don't hold you all up. She looks absolutely gorgeous. Bubbles, and behind you'll start to see the colours emerge, which represent the colours, of course, of the carnival and of festivity. Oh, thank you, my darling. It's not every day a girl gets this, is it? It must be Jubilee. Thanks, that's enough now. Thank you very much. Oh, to get bananas here. I'll be chatting to all sorts of people here later on, so keep coming back.
Well, we'll rejoin Philippa a bit later on. So there's a theme, there's a story here, as Philippa was saying.
Yeah, the idea is to start with a blessing, a libation today. So all the costumes that you're seeing starting this parade have a spiritual theme. And some of them are Middle Eastern, some of them are Asian Eastern, and some of them are Christian liturgy.
Yes.
But they all have a spiritual theme.
Yes, like that, like the wings that we are seeing there now, very much a bird, a white bird of paradise and purification.
This is the all-seeing eye.
Yes, very much. And now in actual fact it looks like it's coming into fantasy. It's very much into the fantasy section. The colours of the people of the Commonwealth, the colours that radiates out of
That's brilliant, isn't it? That blue and gold.
Yes, absolutely. It's obviously modelled on a bird and a tree.
Yes.
And look at the colours, the peacock colours, the golds and the greens and the blues.
Yes, and always, notice the wings again, the flight, that actually came off, remember? The wings started with the bat mask way back in the 40s and 50s, and look how the wings, and we are still into the purification, the blessing of the space, because Carnival, it is about blessing of the space and blessing of the path that we take. Wow. This costume is so symbolic. This one was designed by Clarissa Landy.
Does everybody have the freedom to design the way they like, or do they have a style of designing, a way of designing?
They have the freedom. They have absolute freedom. What they do is that they have their theme, and some of them have a particular style in which they work. So we can actually recognize some of the designers' works without anybody telling us, because they do have a particular a stamp, as it were.
And the music?
Oh, well, the music. It's a mixture of different people. I believe this piece here is Alison Hines. This is Barbadian Calypsonian with the Lala, right? Excellent Calypso.
And what is really nice, you see how many children are involved, because as you saw earlier on the clip, you saw the Noel family there. And that family has been in Carnival since 1973. And every time a new generation is born, they are brought onto the streets to actually celebrate.
On the issue of family, it's interesting now that Notting Hill Carnival has been accepted into the family of celebration in this country.
The royal family, meantime, the other family, still on their way down to the Victoria Memorial. They're not missing anything, because Notting Hill Carnival is moving slowly down from the top end of the mall, so they're not ignoring it. They're going to get to the bottom end of the mall, Prince Harry, Prince William and the rest of them, and then sit on a special stage that's been built for them there, and then they'll watch the whole carnival as it comes down towards them and goes round the side of the Victoria Memorial.
Yes.
So there's half a mile between them now. Prince Andrew again changed out of uniform. Are we still in purification mood?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. The whole front section. Different ways of actually showing purification and libation and blessing. It's different artists that have come up with those ideas.
How many people do you have in the carnival that's coming down the Mall?
It's about 2,500, I understand, masqueraders.
That's great.
You know?
Again, now you're looking at a section there that has very direct influence from the Aztec Indians, if you look at the form and the circle. So therefore they bring in the culture into, and the eyes, of the all-seeing eyes. You see the all-seeing eyes there. And the mask. Where would we be without the mask? Again, reflecting very much the Queen. You notice a lot of gold. Beautiful mask, well sculptured.
Well, the whole issue to do with the masking is that you have masking in Africa, you have masking in Europe, right? And those two masquerade traditions come together very much. We'll see it all afternoon. They look like they're enjoying themselves.
This costume, which is worn by Anushka Case, is a female individual, and when Clary designed it and she looked at the color underneath, you know, the Queen and in all her golds, oh, this is fantastic. I think that must be from, sorry, we just shifted again.
No, well, they've gone into the Jubilee section, and the song that's playing there, the calypso that's playing there, is called Thanks, by a calypsonian called Rupi.
Yes.
And it's a thanks for everything over the last 50 years. So,
go back to the royal family. Oh, this is so symbolic. This is about the butterfly. Shula Newick designed this costume, and on one side the wing is perfect, on the other side it is burnt because she was burnt by her lover. So, you know, she fell in love, and so one half is dark and the other, you see, the other half of it is all burnt out.
And I was going to say again, it's based on the bat.
Yes.
The bat wings. Right.
Oh, and this one was made in 1999 for the eclipse. This was shown at the Dome. And if it was done in daylight, because light plays a very important part in the designs of the costumes. And this was inspired by the 1999 eclipse, which happened. And again, this is Shula Newick from Dragon's Club. And this is fantastic if they could pan out. And in the night, you can just about see the corona of the thing. Again, this is not exactly, this is a moth. And it's not exactly, so all the people who are butterfly specialists out there, they're not exact replicas.
But they're not going to identify the particular moth.
You know, say, oh, sorry, you said the wrong moth there. You see all the butterflies. Again, this looks very much at Peter Minshall, Papillon. Peter Minshall did a mass band many years ago called Papillon, and again
in Trinidad,
taking that inspiration. And now she's gone back to the eclipse, and the masquerader there is fantastic. Carl Morris, he's been a carnival king of Notting Hill for years and years. He's a fantastic masquerader.
What's he doing? He's just wobbling his head a little bit as he goes. He's dancing as he goes.
He's dancing, but it's a very large costume. We can't see it.
I was going to say, it may sound a silly question to you because you know the answer, but I think a lot of people watching this will think two things. One is however long does it take to make a costume like that, and where do you keep it? You said it was on show at Millennium. What do you do with them?
I'll tell you, very often people build costumes that have to come out of the space that they're built in bits and are actually assembled in the street on the day of the parade. But more so, it takes quite often the lifeblood of that person. It can take 6 months to a year to build a costume. On the other hand, if you've got a lot of people working on it, it could take, a week or two.
But the storage is a problem, and more they're looking for space, because the carnivalists in actual fact are working all year round, and when they dismantle that, as you ask, and where do they store it? Dragons in particular is actually looking for a place now to make their masks. That beautiful eclipse there, from today they no longer have a space.
Yeah, but it's important though to know that a lot of these costumes are fabric and they collapse. So in fact, those tall wings there would be probably 20 foot, 30 feet long, but they fold up. Yes, they fold up completely.
Fiberglass rods made of
fiberglass.
Fiberglass rods.
Now we're back with white again. Now
that is samba. That is a samba group. Yes. This of course is a very Brazilian influence, which is great.
This is a samba school, really?
Yes.
It would be called if it was in Brazil.
It was in Brazil. But you see, so they have specific steps for them. The king and the queen of the samba, which are not actually there.
Let's rejoin Philippa, who is chancing her arm with Carnival down in the Mall itself. Philippa.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm trying to keep up with you. How are you doing?
All right, thank you.
Are you excited?
Very.
It's just starting. It feels like a long way.
Brilliant. Atmosphere is lovely.
What does this section of the carnival represent?
We're representing butterflies in different forms. Mating. You've got the butterfly mating.
Yeah.
The moths.
Hello, girls. You having a fun time? You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Say, the person singing here is
Calypso Rose.
very, very famous.
And these are white butterflies with behind them. Are they all butterflies behind? Look at it, right up to Admiralty Arch. They must have come. I don't know whether it's halfway down the Mall now. I can't judge it quite.
I think it's led by the spiritual section, which has wings like the butterflies. It's not a butterfly section at all.
Behind them, you can see elements of the butterflies coming. Butterflies and moths. And they look at them in terms of like, the moths are like first lieutenant, second lieutenant, ladies in waiting. They all echo the queen's structure. Ladies in waiting, the first lieutenant. Some of the moths are like that.
Are they mocking it or are they just
they're
celebrating it?
Celebrating it.
They celebrate the thing with the Caribbean people and people of the Commonwealth. You know, we celebrate the Queen very, very strongly.
I didn't catch what you said about 2 weeks from now. What did you say about? Oh, right, yeah. The Earl of Essex there talking to people. They're still on their way down. They'll soon be reaching us here at the Victoria Memorial.
I'll just link these two.
I think I inadvertently called him the Earl of Essex, who lost his head in the Middle Ages. I meant the Earl of Wessex, of course. I don't know when the last Earl of Wessex was, in fact, or whether it's a new title created for the Prince. Prince Charles there on his way down, and we hear this music, so you should go back and have a look at Carnival as it comes down the Mall. I tell you something quite amusing. 2 weeks from now, it's time for Trooping the Colour. Now, people think of Trooping the Colour as kind of British formality, very upright, slightly pompous, all that. But actually, when you look at Carnival and you look at Trooping the Colour and you think of the household cavalry going down, clatter, 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 spurs and all that, it's exactly the same instinct. It's, look at me, I'm a fine fellow.
Yes.
Look at me, isn't it? I mean, there's not much difference between it. Actually, you could mix the two.
That's right. I would have thought that certainly in terms of the empire, certainly that connection is there because, I mean, Trinidad Carnival was completely influenced by colonialism, and therefore all the Trooping of the Colour and all of those kinds of enactments have influenced the art that comes out of the West Indies,
but also
particularly Trinidad.
But also the thing you were saying about coming out of yourself, you make this transformation, because so many people there are accountants, they're lawyers, they're doctors, but we need to actually manifest ourselves in something else on a daily. So the Trooping of the Colours, whether you Kylie Minogue, is transformed. I'm tapping into that inner core, that other dimension of yourself. So they become something else on these 2 days.
Philippa's down there with another group of carnivalists. Philippa.
You look fantastic.
Thank you. You look brilliant yourself. Face covering.
I'm not as brave as you though.
Oh, well, I think you'll be able to look good in this costume as well.
Do you? I'd have to hold my stomach. How long have you been rehearsing for this?
I've been doing it for about 2 years or so, but many of us have been doing it for 8 years, longer. The water Bandera, who's at the front, Lisa, she's been doing it for quite a while as well.
Go, let it go.
Keep moving.
That's the fun I use it.
But today's very special.
He's my teacher. He's been mad.
He's a good teacher.
Now, who are they?
I am not sure what band that is, but what I do know is that it is definitely a Brazilian theme.
The Brazilian flag has been in evidence from time to time.
Yes,
hasn't it?
yes,
Coming
yes.
down, the green flag with the globe.
I should actually know this mass by
But
heart, but
if
for the
I-
likes of me, I cannot remember.
Yeah, if
who
I
is it
just say,
playing.
it was quite interesting.
Just showed up at the last moment without telling anybody.
And then also, you see, this is very Brazilian. This is from
Yes,
the
it
samba
is.
school, very samba.
It is very much one of the Brazilian bands.
Now, they're not all either Caribbean or Brazilian people. I mean, there are some very, very white faces indeed in Carnival, so you're not exclusively...
At all.
At all.
Carnival is for
I
everybody.
could join Carnival, could
Yeah,
I?
absolutely. Carnival's a
I could
great
come
big
down the
band.
Mall. Could
Yeah.
I
Carnival
rather
is-
fancy that.
And you could go down Notting Hill Gate, because
Yes.
just like how we see the
Also.
trooping of the colours and
Yes.
people looking for ways of expression, because there is another dimension to you. Like everybody out there,
a change, I
you
can
know,
tell
like
you.
everybody else out there who is looking on, they can also play mass. They can, as you remember earlier on, you asked if you could come up with your own idea, your own theme, something you want to say. You say, look at me, this is what I am.
There's the crown
Wow,
again.
the crown, the corona. That not the. I mean, that is not the corona. And if you notice underneath, Clary put all these colours, as she said at the welcoming the Caribbean, welcoming people of all diversities, and the Queen was showing her leadership, showing that how she's willing to let people in, like how she did with the palace.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment on the music that we've heard from two major female calypsonians, one of which was Denise Plummer singing Woman is Boss. And they chose these pieces particularly to celebrate what the Queen has done for the last
right,
50 years.
Woman is Boss.
Woman is Boss.
Well, we should remember
Right?
that.
Queen of the Road.
Let's just join Boss Philippa down in the Mall and see who she's found. Philippa.
What's your name?
Theo.
And how long have you been practicing for the carnival?
Quite a long time.
You've got a golden face. What does the golden jubilee mean to you?
A lot. But it's good for the Queen and everything.
Fantastic. I hope you have a lovely day.
Okay.
You look wonderful.
Sir Michael Parker, who created this whole event, actually created the whole Jubilee weekend there, greeting the princes, and Lord Stirling, the bald
there's
figure
one.
to his left there in the blue tie, who arranged all the funding of it, because a lot of this has been paid for by the shareholders of big public companies in order to avoid the taxpayer paying for it. The delphiniums and flowers and the E with the crown. This is where that brazier went off last night. There's Sir Michael Parker. He was here with us yesterday talking about the 75 different occasions he had choreographed. Everybody's always trying to stop him going over the top. And he said one or two of the ideas he put to the palace, they said, well, watch it, Michael. So far it's been a terrific success, and he says he's never anxious. He says he doesn't feel nervous, and he says he mustn't show any nerves because you mustn't frighten the horses. It would all fall apart if he was seen to be uncertain.
I can't believe it's carnival. Just look around, so much pretty gals, drinks in the hand, behind the back.
So that costume coming down again, and Philippa Forrest has found another tiny member of the parade.
So little. Where's your flag? Here I am. Look, what a littly, and not frightened at all.
Behind our studio here.
Oh, what can I say? There are no words.
And this front of the
Look at this
procession has
fabulous.
just arrived behind our studio here.
Yes,
Come
yes.
down to the Victoria Memorial so we can see it
You can see it even better yet, in actual fact.
Glistening gold
Pure
trains
gold, yes. As the Queen welcomes the people into Buckingham Palace, and the three things symbolize reaching out to the community, and the community having a pathway to
Are they
the
going
palace.
to take over the palace, or do they go somewhere else?
Initially, yes. I'm not sure where they're going to go, because I don't know where they have been allowed to go. But that is what that actually very clearly represents. And there should have been an orb somewhere, but I haven't seen the orb itself either.
But it looks as though there are bishops nodding behind them in bishops' mitres. That can't be intended. It looks like Archbishop of Canterbury, Archbishop of York,
No, that's
Bishop of Durham, no?
No, they're all dancers. They're all they're dancers. And in actual fact, the one that's behind here.
Oh, look, somebody's going up towards...
To greet the Queen. Fantastic.
Fabulous.
Fabulous, fabulous. And that's Avion. That's from South Connections, the big white wing. Big white wing. Oh, these are the Samba people. Samba. The Samba people. As you were saying earlier.
The Queen actually hasn't arrived here yet because she's still eating her roast beef.
Oh, really?
An old English ceremony taking place in Guildhall before she comes to join in the Caribbean euphoria of carnival. This is a splendid sight.
Yes, it is.
Wonderful, wonderful.
It's actually fun. It's amazing what the human being can be, what the human being is all about. His aspirations reaching up to the gods, because in actual fact, the good designers design their costumes without wheels, and you see how it is exploding into space.
And the ideas of the body giving the costume a life of its own and transforming that person into a fantasy. So if you want to escape the reality of life, you go and you play carnival. That's the way to do it.
But you can only do it on high days and holidays, can't you? You can't earn your bread this way.
Well,
you can. Some people do earn their bread.
Oh, well, it's a professional carnivalist,
yes,
but I mean, we can't...
But
it'd be lovely if we could all live in fantasy land like this all the time.
It happens once a year, doesn't it?
It does.
And you know, it's really, really nice seeing all the people of England coming out and using the street as we do in Carnival for the 2 days of Carnival. And even our motorway was shown last night on the BBC. And people coming out and the sense of community and using. Avion who's just on camera.
The E there is the arrangement. We haven't really seen it before. The E with the crown on top, which is where the Queen will go. She hasn't arrived here yet. But that's where she'll come.
Because that's where the flame was lit last night, wasn't it? I was here for the rehearsals.
The music that's playing there is called Togetherness. To emphasize the community aspect.
Well, this will be a hard act for the rest of the parades to beat.
Well, they will do very well because it is the Commonwealth, you know, and you taught us well, but you also, you know, we taught you well as well. So, and that is why we, you know, the street is there for us to actually.
And it's lovely that the sun is shining.
Wow, look at it. Two fantastic kids.
Right. So it's starting to pick up the subtlety of the colours and the subtlety of the costumes.
Let's go back down inside the procession.
Excuse me, girl. Yes? What do you mean by showing your bottoms to the crowd in that manner?
That doesn't matter, that's carnival.
But it's a very rude dance.
Yeah, of course, you have to be a bit conditioned.
This looks a bit like shade makers.
What is important is the energy and the dance. The dance is as important as the music, right? That infuses the costume and gets the movement.
Yes.
Yes.
So I know that costume so well, and my brain cells have just totally flagged out on me. Because this was done at Notting Hill Carnival, and this either is from Shade Makers. I know this costume so well.
Good idea. It's all being watched by the royal family at the bottom by the Victoria Memorial. Second big event they've had in 2 days. It's very spirited, rather different from the rock and pop. Big gaps between the two sections of the parade that come down here. What's this one embodying the spirit of where we've got to now?
The street.
The street.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be an empty space, but maybe that because it's filled with possibilities, people can come and just fill the space with possibilities, you know. What is also interesting? Oh, this is from Flamingo Carnival.
Yeah, this is Stardust actually, right? That's passing here, and they have done 1 or 2 characters and just have floor members who look like they're thoroughly enjoying themselves.
It's all about enjoyment, isn't it? It's about high spirits, and it should put everybody watching into high spirits. I don't know, looking to see whether people are dancing as well. Some of them are a little bit. They're sort of jigging a bit to the music as it goes past, but they're cramming so hard.
Some of them.
It says Santiwa.
Yes,
in actual
absolutely.
fact, looking at the mask, the contemporary mask, the puppet mask, and also then looking at the African mask. There very much. They call that. They had a very nice name for that, which they call it. One of the contemporary mask is worn by Moses Charles, and it's designed by Nadella Benjamin from Trinidad. And the other mask, which is the contemporary mask of Africa, and they also had a nice thing called Article Vibrations for that.
Not quite so cheerful looking.
Well, no, because you see, it's also supposed to reflect life, and as you know, life has all its joyous moments, its dark moments, its moments of hope. So all of that you will see reflected there on the screen.
What I would say is that the puppet mask has become a very popular masquerade. These puppets are a good 40 foot in the air, and it's very enjoyable to look at it. And yeah, they all have stories about them. It's usually male and female, isn't it?
Usually male and female.
Well, usual stories about love.
Yes, love, hate, war.
Oh, sorry, hate. I forgot hate.
Hate is very, very important.
I just thought love.
You saw those burnt wings before of the butterfly, didn't you? Yes, yes.
We've all got soaked in all you need is love here in the studio.
Yes.
Because of last night. So.
Yes, but when you understand love, you realize how complex it is. It's beautiful, isn't it? It has all those emotions in there. So.
I always feel sorry for the police because they're facing the wrong way.
They are, aren't they? Mind you, some of the masqueraders come and the expression is wind up on them.
Yes.
And they look so embarrassed, and then some of them just join in the fun anyway.
Really, really, really get into it. I get into all that fun.
What have we got here? We said look like giant onions. Are they onions?
What? It's an Eastern influence, really.
Yes.
It's the domes that you find on the top.
The onion domes. Lovely.
No. You'd find them on the top of the what you call the mosques.
Yes. Yeah. Showing all the influences of all the color of all the cultures, because you have like Mauritians in here, you have Brazilians, you have Eastern influence very, very strongly in the carnival, as you can see there. They kind of also look a little bit like, yes, they look very much like mosque.
That's mahogany.
No, that is gone. We have saw that before. Yeah, Santiago. And you saw the mask.
Now these are the butterflies coming down to the bottom end of the mouth.
Yes. These are the butterflies. There are moths as well inside of there, and they all actually look very specifically, as you don't want me to go into specifics, but they look at different aspects of the butterfly. But what they wanted to reflect was diversity. So you have like some European butterflies in there, as well as Caribbean butterflies. Like you have the first lieutenant, the moth, European tiger moth in there. You have
Is this a butterfly?
Oh no, this is from parents and their offspring. This one looks at the darkness, and if you see the moon is in the middle of it. This is I think he actually, no, he didn't win at Notting Hill Gate, but it's a very, very, looking at the night sky and the moon actually emanating out of that night sky. And it's from a band called Parents and Their Offspring. Leader is Jenny Bernard, one of the oldest members. You've been celebrating the youngsters, but what Carnival does as well is have some real old people, women of substance and men of substance inside of there as well. This is a fun.
I was going to say, those domes that just passed were called sacred domes and represented sanctuaries.
This one in actual fact is really good. You see, we were talking about love and sexuality early on, and there it is, the big butterfly there. And if you look at whole of his costumes, he has leather and chains and very sadomasochism. But a silver virgin on top there is coming to say, listen, if you keep on behaving badly, what is going to happen to you? See, he wears a death mask of skull, and it's very, very sexual and very potent, looking at sexuality and how we play around with it. And the designer said she had 25 goes to get the right kind of combination of evil and goodness and all of that inside of there. And that's from a band called Dragons, I think, yes. It's fantastic. There we see the Brazilians.
Ashe music.
So the groups we're seeing, are they people who meet together all the time? Do they dance? Do they make the costumes together? Do they plan what they're going to do? Or do they just come together for actual carnival?
The actual bands, each of these groups is a masquerade band in itself. They have a whole community that meets regularly. But for today, what we have asked is, like we replicated a Notting Hill Carnival, where these various bands have all come together to present on one theme.
Because you have bands here from Germany as well, shade makers. I actually haven't seen any of their costumes yet, but shade makers you have from Germany, you have from the Mauritius, you have from Germany.
Where the music's coming from, where the music's coming from.
Well, this particular band that's playing is called Atlantic. It's one of the top.
So the music we're hearing, it's not live band music.
No.
It's all recorded.
Pre-recorded, yes.
Pre-recorded.
But it's all done by leading performers in the Calypso idiom.
I was looking around for the band.
No.
Dancing and singing and all that, and there's no band.
These are all very popular pieces of music, though, for the
So
carnival.
the whole mall is full of the same music.
Yes.
As they come down.
Oh, yes. Technological genius.
Technological.
And we're looking at mahogany arts now, right? And these are the Sunshine Children.
Marigolds.
Yeah.
Or sunshine. Sunshine.
It's Clarissa Landy who was designed the costumes that are coming now that we're seeing on the screen. Actually coordinated this whole parade. She's done very well. See,
I know exactly what that is.
Michael Parker standing there. He's enjoying it, but he keeps trying to say, "Come along, speed up." He's been gesturing to move along.
Dancing, isn't that
He's dancing to it. Yes.
He
But-
came down to Notting Hill and he said, "My God, the sea of humanity down here is fantastic." He so loved Notting Hill. Yes.
He loves it, but he's also worried that it's taking twice as long as he thought it would.
Timing.
So-
Oh, look at this! Isn't it absolutely
Does he, have,
mahogany
does he have
art.
problems? Now this is lovely. This is another butterfly or moth. Yes.
It's all aspirations of that man exploding into space, and they've used those wings to define us. You ever look at the Catholic Eucharist, how it explodes into space, because carnival comes so much out of religion as well. It has a very, very religious connotation, and there it is. We have the fluidity of those skirts, man. Everybody in London, England, Great Britain could see themselves in that, couldn't they? I mean, playing that kind of stuff. Sugar boom, sugar boom.
Now this is by a famous calypsonian who died a year ago, the Lord Kitchener, who spent a lot of time here, Alwyn Roberts. Very famous calypso though, Sugar Boom Boom. I think the name actually expresses exactly what it's about.
I don't know how to get into this costume. You're a bit larger than life.
Oh,
aren't you?
definitely.
What are you representing here?
Indian chief.
You are the Indian chief.
I am,
today.
definitely, yes.
And what are you in real life?
Well, I'm an engineer.
You needed to be an engineer to get this costume sorted out.
Yes,
Is it
definitely.
hard to wear?
No, it's very light actually. It's well engineered. It's very well balanced, so there's enough weight at the front and the back, so it's very nice to carry.
Jack, come and enter this now. Thank you very much.
I'd love to be
Sorry.
Condor, and he's one of the leading masquerade makers in the north of England, in Leeds and Huddersfield. He works, and he does a lot of work for Leicester, and he's chosen to put on a costume today and parade. You know, it's really good that the family has come together.
Do you feel, looking at this, that Britain is a society that is opening up to embrace more people? Because if you think back to George V's, say, well, you and I weren't around, I don't suppose many were on George V's Jubilee, but even the last Queen's Jubilee, the 25th one, there was nothing like this. And this is in the lead of the great procession to celebrate.
But this is about Britain accepting all their people, right? It's about also those people who have come here taking, adopting Britain as their country. That the carnival celebration in Britain has become part of the culture of Britain. This is quite different to anything else celebrated anywhere else in the world.
So this is a two-way process.
Yes,
Britain,
absolutely.
I mean, the old Britain opening up,
Yes.
and the new Britain embracing.
Absolutely, and a sharing, and it is a new family. That's a word that has been used a lot recently in this Jubilee, and it is about the family, the new family.
It's fantastic because Europe went to the Caribbean, the Caribbean has come back, and we have mixed up all of those cultures, opened up all of those. So we have also brought Latin America, Africa, and in Carnival, which is lovely, and Europe, there you're seeing the mask of designed by Nadella Benjamin, and it's from Ya Santiwa Mass Van, and it's just this
What?
Ya Santiwa, Nadella Benjamin, and it's the African Mass. But it's this sea of humanity, this sea of hope, this sea of inspiration that England has this whole history of street culture. And last night, which was fantastic, I loved the fact of the fireworks coming out. Where would you see that? This is such a fantastic thing that fabulous is happening with this Jubilee.
Hey, you can do this thing all over again in August?
In August.
Absolutely.
You know, this one was
exhausted after today.
This was Tenement Square. This was actually inspired by Tenement Square. And she's saying life is not just black and white. In order for it to work, you have to have a bit of color. And if you just look down there, you see the person wearing the color. Yes, and that is what will make it work.
The apricot or the...
Yes, the apricot color. Life is not just black and white. You got to bring the color in.
And the color actually represented the students, the youth.
Yes.
Right? And their new ideas.
And that Indian mask is Aztec Indian that has a long life in Carnival.
It comes out of the New Orleans mask too, as well as the native Indian.
Hello.
What's your name?
Nicole.
Nicole, where have you come from?
In London.
From London. So you haven't come that far, but what are you dressed as?
A star.
You're dressed as a star. The theme of creation, isn't it?
Yes.
So what's in front of us?
I'm not sure.
Flowers and water, I think, probably.
Yeah, water.
Yeah. And behind us, the flowers.
Yeah, the flowers were behind us.
Okay. Enjoy being a star for today.
Okay, thank you.
It's sad the Queen can't be here to see all this. She's still up at Guildhall with the formal luncheon going on there. She's going to come down later on, I think halfway through the full parade. But the rest of the family seem to be having
a really good
time of it,
yes,
don't they?
Yes, everybody, and all look at the members of the public as well are really enjoying it.
Now that comes from the production, Gino's production, Satwa.
But the black and white,
yes,
black and white masks, yes.
They're based on
There's a ship coming down now. It looks like a ship in full sail. Is that right?
That looks very much. You know, Chagall used to have all these explosions coming out of people's heads. Well, we have the sailor mask that where the images and they carry their dreams and aspirations on their head, and the ship. Obviously, somebody wants to do some traveling.
Well, now a complete change. The Children's Parade, the Chickenshed Theatre Company. And they've burst out onto the Mall behind Carnival. And we lose our Carnival guest. Thank you very much indeed. That was terrific. And we now change our seats here, and Michelle Collins and Susan Hill of Chickenshed join me. Hi, come and sit down here. Just tell us, oh, we'll have to wait till you've got a microphone on. If I tell you that Chickenshed was set up nearly 30 years ago now, it's the most terrifically innovative theatre, and it's had a huge success. It's based in Southgate in North London, puts on plays and workshops and all sort of things for anybody who wants to join, preschool age children, and is gradually expanding throughout the country. Now you've got microphones on you, Susan Hill, Michelle Collins. Just tell me a bit about the origins of this as we see it. What was the idea behind it?
Well, this particular song we're singing is called Together Talking, and we were asked to present a song that represents the future, and we felt that the future is best represented if people talk to each other. So Jo Collins, who has just been given the MBE for her services to music, and David Carey and Paul Morrill, who are all members of our company, wrote this song.
But what's the origin of Chickenshed? I mean, a lot of people, I think, don't know what it is. What is Chickenshed?
We're a professional performing theatre company. We started 28 years ago in a chicken shed. We needed a place, and we were given a chicken shed by Lady Elizabeth Byng. So we started in a chicken shed that had no floor, nothing, but a very big space.
You brought children who were excluded from other kinds of theatre or dance or work,
treated
as though they couldn't.
Yes.
couldn't do that kind of
We
stuff.
started just as a theatre company for anyone. Joe and Mary, who started it, always said they wanted a theatre company where you didn't have to have an audition, where anyone who had a love of the performing arts could come.
Sounds a recipe for chaos.
It isn't, it's perfect. You look at them, they're wonderful
How did you get involved, Michelle?
Well, I'd seen quite a few productions over the years, and my daughter now goes, and she's too young to perform today. She's nearly 6, and I've seen a lot of theatre groups over the years, and lots of sort of stage schools and things, and this one particularly appealed to me. I just love the philosophy of it, the ethos of it. It's so non-competitive. The children are just very selfless, I think, and it's about sort of togetherness and looking after each other, whatever class, whatever ability. You know, I just think it's fantastic, and the shows are absolutely amazing.
But a lot of the children, originally a lot of the children, are children born with illnesses or disabilities of one sort or another that would have prevented them joining in other activities. That was what's really behind it.
Yes, and also it's amazing that everyone, you know, mixes together. You know, my daughter is in a group with children of very, you know, disabled kids, able-bodied kids. Probably, you know, she never had that chance to do that in any other theatre group.
We don't consider that any of our kids are disabled or not able. They're all very able performers. The fact that some might be in a wheelchair, some have been given labels elsewhere, really when they want to perform, when they come to the theatre, they can perform if every single person has something to offer.
And they don't see themselves as being different. I think that's the most important thing, because I think every child wants to be the same as everyone else. They all want to be together, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is,
but it's been a long time coming in this country, that, hasn't it?
I think it's still coming. I think it's still, it's not everywhere.
And also Chickenshed now has outreach groups, because there's like a 3,000
waiting
kids
list
on the waiting list. And they're now going to have one in Manchester as well, aren't you?
So we've started a Greater Manchester.
It's expanding.
And here, for the first time ever, there are 800 performers of Chickenshed's Children's and Youth Theatre, but we're joined by 200 of our outreach kids that have never performed before. And they're here performing. They're here performing in front of the Queen and thousands.
What are they actually doing? That you can see them there with.
Yes, they're dancing. They're actually. This is the first bit, but they actually go in. This is a slow motion part, and they go into the real song of Together Talking, which is all signed. Everyone who comes to Chickenshed learns sign language. We feel that that's a way of communicating as well. So you can communicate with your bodies. You can communicate with sign language, with speech. There's lots and lots of ways that people can communicate.
And this song has been especially written, did you say that?
It's been written especially for this. And they're just having such wonderful fun, and it's beautiful.
Now I read a review of one of your performances by a critic who said he went 10 years ago and thought that he'd see, because it was for, well, you don't like the word disabled or people with learning difficulties or whatever, thought that he'd see a badly written play, badly performed, and actually when he came to it, it sort of opened his eyes and he realised he was seeing really good theatre, really well done.
I seriously don't...
You can't take anybody, some people can't act. Couldn't take me, I couldn't act.
If you want to act, I'm sure if you want to act and you came to Chickenshed, you could act. Everybody has got abilities. In this country or in the world, we're too quick to say somebody can't do something. If you say somebody can do something, they can. And if you continually tell people they can, they can. And we produce amazing theatre that sells out, you know, instantly it goes out. Our shows sell out. And the fact that we have 3,000 on our waiting list shows that there's a demand for this sort of theatre. See, this is all signed. And the children here are from 7 to 21. Yes.
Three worlds, two worlds, it's time for one world. The world needs to talk, so talk through me.
We're going to talk to the past world. We're talking to the here and now. We look ahead to the future. It's turning into now. Together talking. before we talk till tomorrow. We need to listen to today.
Tiptoe, all I can see is children from Chickenshed. There are more than 1,000 children here performing together, talking. Their vision of a future where everyone lives together in harmony. I don't really want to interrupt them all. Signing, look. Hello. Hello. Are you having a nice time?
Yeah, I'm having a brilliant time.
Tell me about the song.
This song's Together Talking. It's all to do with communicating and talking together.
And where have you come from today?
Chickenshed theatre room.
Do you have fun there?
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
Good. What do you learn about acting and singing?
Yeah, we do all those sorts of things. Acting, singing, dancing, all these things. It's brilliant.
Signing as well. I've seen a lot of that. You've learned signing?
Yeah, lots of signing.
And do you think the Queen's going to enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm sure she will. It's
good. Have a lovely Jubilee Day and I'll let you get back to it.
So the Mall is now packed. There seem to be gospel singers at this end waiting to come down, while Carnival is still reaching Chickenshed in the middle, and Carnival is still not yet quite reached the Victoria Memorial, where the royal family is still watching it go past. So these three different parades. And we think the Queen will come down behind the gospel singers. Well, she'll be a long time in the coming if that's the case. So this huge gospel parade. Patty Boulay and Ken Burton set this up. Something like 5,000 gospel singers are waiting to come down.
I'm not going to keep you long because they're all moving off, aren't they? You just performed your song. Are you going to do it again?
Yeah, we're going to do it in front of the Queen. It's only a small version because she can't stay awake for most of the versions.
She can't stay awake for most of the versions.
And we're going to do some more song, another chicken. We're going to do some more songs and
some more songs later?
Yeah.
And have you been practicing for long?
I've been practicing since last year.
What do you think the Queen will think?
I think she'll think that it's going to be really. She's going to think it's going to be really good and everything.
Good. Go on, run, catch them up.
I like that.
Other members of the royal family now out in the Mall. Prince Michael and Princess Michael of Kent there. The hats get bigger and bigger. So, the Duke of Kent and Princess Alexandra, a rather curious way of doing it. The young royals went first, and now the, I wouldn't call them elderly, but the older royals, older minor royals, I suppose is the proper way the palace would describe them, come down in a second batch to go down. And we're still promised the Queen when she comes behind the gospel singers. Now, Chickenshed seem to stop in the middle of the Mall for a performance and are now coming on down towards
We're doing
bottom end.
3 performances on the Mall. We then wait for an hour and the Queen will come and sit with the other royals and we'll perform a shortened version, not because she's too tired, but because we're doing a shortened version. And
well, he must have got that idea from somewhere.
I can't imagine where. It must have been his mother. And then some of our children will go and collect the Queen, and the Queen will come in the middle of all our children, and the children will then escort her to the palace, and we'll hand her over to the Commonwealth, and then we're singing again.
Hand her over to the Commonwealth?
Yes.
Not quite what you mean, but we know what you mean. The Commonwealth, there's a big Commonwealth banner going to be unveiled, isn't there, which in the forecourt of the palace later on, before the flypast of Concord and all of that, which will have to circle London for several hours at this rate before it's allowed to come down the Mall for the final flypast, which was meant to be, I think, around about 6 o'clock, but at the present rate, I think it'll be a good deal later than that.
Said 12 minutes. We've only got a leeway of 12 minutes, so I don't quite know what's happened here.
Well, I think you started more than 12 minutes behind time, so you've got no hope of making the time up as you go along.
I don't think it matters, though. I think it all looks wonderful.
That's an astonishing sight, isn't it? The gospel singers waiting to come.
How many of them?
5,000, something like that, I think.
Apparently at the end there's going to be 22,000 gathered outside Buckingham Palace, which is just amazing.
Well, now just so you see how things are, while Chickenshed are halfway up the Mall, here we've got the tail end of Carnival just going round in front of Buckingham Palace, and they go down, disappear down towards the Royal Mews. What they do with those costumes when they get down there, I don't know. They have to take them all off. It's like disassembling a glider or an aeroplane or something extraordinary. Those huge costumes.
Let's hope Concord doesn't go too low.
Well, now let's go right up to the other end of the Mall, where Philippa has another victim. Philippa.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Can you tell me the way to... No, it doesn't... Are you having a nice time?
Yes, fine.
When you're on duty like this, do you have to be frightfully serious, or can you have a little bit of a boogie?
No, they want us to play with the crowd and be silly and do all kinds of stupid things.
So you can have a nice time as well as concentrating on the serious issues?
Yeah, there's plenty of us here.
Is he a nice policeman? Has he been looking after you? Beg your pardon, it's a good dancer. You can move those hips. Thank you very much.
Chickenshed Theatre now coming. Dancing
That's
on
our
down.
outreach. That's Bushy. It's our Bushy outreach. No, I can just recognise them because I go to the outreach. I love the outreach. sight.
Can we switch now? Chickenshed are stopping again. This is for another performance, is it?
Performance,
Your third
yes.
performance.
Yes.
And I think the gospel singers are waiting at the top until you've finished
Yes,
and
that's
cleared
right.
away from the mall.
That's
Yes.
right.
You see what a still, sultry afternoon it is in London. The Union flags hanging completely lifeless in the mall.
Having a good time. There's actually 12 solo singers singing as well, so each of them are taking lines.
One world, we're starting over, it takes a word, so talk to me. World, the walls are falling, I talk to you, and you'll be free. We see a bridge to the future, to make this dream inside you smile. We'll fly so no one can see us, and we can reach a dream in style.
Three worlds, two worlds, it's time for one world. The world needs to talk, so talk through me.
We're going to talk to the past world. We're talking to here and now. We look ahead to the future. It's turning into now. Goodness beyond, but there's too many dreams between us two. Moving, talking, my words are walking, they walk apart. From me to you, we need to say what we're thinking. We need to feel the words to say before we talk till tomorrow. We need to listen till today.
Well, I interviewed her earlier in the week about how she was doing, and she was having absolute nightmares. Patti Poulet is about to lead 5,000 gospel singers. How are you feeling? It's your big moment,
How
darling.
are you?
All right,
Good
now,
to
how
see
are
you again.
Come on.
It's exciting. It's fantastic. It looks so far away suddenly.
It is a long way. You've got
Yeah, we
about, what,
feel like we've
14
been
minutes to
walking
get
all
up there?
day. I know. Well, we're just going to take our time. We're just going to strut our stuff.
Now, on Saturday, you said that you only had this morning to rehearse. How did
That's
those
right.
rehearsals go?
Oh, very well. I think I've almost lost my voice. You can hear them back there. They are just raring to go.
Hello! Wave for the cameras and enjoy it!
Aren't they brilliant?
Oh, I can't wait to hear them. Good luck!
Thank you. Thank you.
While Chickenshed go on down the Mall, back at Guildhall in the City of London, lunch is finished. A quite different world.
May I now ask the assembled company to join me in 3 cheers for Her Majesty. Please rise. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray!
Well, for She's a Jolly Good Fellow, sung with quite the enthusiasm of the music we've been hearing in the Mall, but very nicely done, and a fitting end to the Guildhall lunch. The Queen now has a rest for a quarter of an hour or so, and then she goes to her car and will drive down towards the Mall and back to Buckingham Palace, not to go home, but to sit here at the end of the Mall and to watch the parade going past. Chickenshed is still on its lively way down the Mall. They don't seem to have exhausted themselves. They've stopped 3 times, done 3 performances, and still they're at it.
These are our children's theatre and our youth theatre, though, so they're our younger members. I think they're just having an absolutely wild time, which is brilliant. I can see them now, yes.
As you look out of our window, you can see them in reality going round past the bottom of the memorial. Average age what?
Well, these are between 7 and 21. We have the children's theatre from 7 to 11, then our youth theatre from 11 to 18, I think, and then we have our company that also train and take the outreach and put on absolutely amazing productions.
How often do you do public performances like this? You were at the Queen Mother's 100th birthday and her 90th birthday, which
we did VE Day,
Yes.
which was perfect. We did a thing called Peace, which was to represent peace. So we performed it quite a few times. We've done lots of things like Remembrance, Joy to the World, and we also do productions in London. We do real shows and tour, and we're very mixed.
We've just Romeo and Juliet.
Yes,
amazing. I did see that, and Midsummer Night's Dream. We did.
Yeah. Just finished that, and we're about to go into a beautiful dance piece called Globalise, which we're taking into London, to the Limbury. Anyone can go and see shows.
Are all your members going to go into the forecourt of Buckingham Palace, or just a small number
all
taking
of
the
them.
Queen in? They're all going.
They're all going to go. We're actually taking her, as far as I know, we're taking to the gate, and then we're standing right in front of the palace to sing again and watch the Concorde and things.
So that's procession number 2, going round past the Victoria Memorial. And next, it's gospel. But let's join Philippa again.
Hello! Where have you come from? It's me. Oh, it's you. Where have you come from?
We're from Africa. We're African Unique Sisters.
And you've come all the way here for the Golden Jubilee?
Yeah, all over England.
What does the Queen make of it, do you think?
The Queen meant a lot for us because she's been our leader for some time, leader of Commonwealth Africa, and this is the continent of Africa we all came from. So we are very pleased to join in the jubilation event.
We're very pleased to have you. Keep moving, keep singing.
Well now, my thanks to Susan Hill and Michelle Collins there, who were taking us through the Chickenshed Theatre. And now I'm delighted to say I'm joined here by Ken Burton, who will be talking about gospel and giving us a helping hand through that. He's a conductor and a performer, a composer, works in churches, in the recording industry, goodness knows where else, and is conducting the London Adventist Chorale at the classical concert you have done on
Yes, Saturday.
That's right, yes. And we heard you were in the stand at the classical concert.
That's correct.
That's right, yes. No, that was a great performance. Now, how many singers did you have there? Just
32 singers in
yes.
total.
And today, 5,000.
Today, 5,000.
Are they actually all singing in unison as they come down the mall? What's the idea?
They're singing in harmony, actually. They've actually rehearsed.
But how do you get them to know what the front is doing and what the back is doing? How do you keep it going?
Everybody can hear each other. I mean, everybody's singing with enthusiasm, so they're singing at a volume where they can hear each other. And everybody's just swelling in harmony.
Terrific sight coming down the Mall. Just tell us a bit about the origin of this music that's being sung and of this huge number of people that you've gathered together to sing it.
Gospel music is an African-American musical style. It started in the United States and is a mix of African and Western styles. The African-Americans came into contact with Western hymns and used to sing them with their own African characteristics. So we hear lots of harmonies, improvisation, embellishments, changing the rhythms, a whole range of Africanisms mixed with the European hymn style to create this very powerful musical style. The earliest form of gospel is known as Negro spirituals, and people are familiar with Negro spirituals through artists such as Paul Robeson, and those familiar with the English composer Michael Tippett's Child of Our Time will be familiar with the 5 spirituals which are used in that work. The latest style of gospel is known as gospel music, which has this exuberance, this power, this great energy. This 5,000 voice procession consists of about 60 groups from different churches, and streamed down the middle we see those dressed in yellow. They're from 355 theatre schools as part of the Stagecoach Theatre Arts franchise. And in the front we have a gospel choir from the Metropolitan Police. 100 singers, some of them are in uniform, and some of them are in their national costumes because it's a very ethnically mixed choir.
Has it always been ethnically mixed, or is that quite a new development?
It's quite
there were white faces there as well as black faces.
That's quite a new development. It's always been very much a black American style, and was preserved by the African Caribbeans in the Caribbean and those who came here as well. And over the last few years, we've actually seen it being embraced by a number of different ethnic groups, whites and Asians alike.
This is the song. Well, look there, the police, yes, and
that's right.
In uniform, not yes.
Well, some of them are in uniform, some of them are actually out of uniform.
This is the Jubilee song that Patti Boulay wrote.
Yeah.
She was very funny about it when she was talking before Jubilee about how they were going to handle the gospel singer. She said that Sir Michael Parker, who's the dictator of the parade, had said they had to get down the mile in a certain length of time, and that a lot of gospel didn't lend itself to the pace, and it would take them too long to get here. So she'd written this special Jubilee song with a slightly pacier speed to it, so that it would get people down to the bottom, and Sir Michael Parker would go home happy.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. The song is actually an adaptation of a song, Celebrate Good News, from her musical called Sundance, which she wrote from 1997 through to 2000, and which will be shown in full next year.
This choir, of course, is here, actually down at the Victoria Memorial, singing under one of those great stages with its canopy over the top. The Kingdom Choir and the Morriston Orpheus Choir.
Right. Yes, Kingdom Choir is one of our foremost gospel choirs in this country.
No, not the Morriston Orpheus Choir. They do a different kind. I was very surprised to hear that. No, it's the Kingdom Choir. That's
yes,
right.
The Kingdom Choir. They're actually joined by a number of other choirs as well. It's Karen Gibson, the musical director.
We were talking about Carnival, and I just put the same point to you. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
25 years ago, I don't think you'd have seen such a huge, people call it ethnic minority, black faces in a parade like this, leading off Carnival from Notting Hill Gate, and now you with gospel, which you say is substantially a black thing. Do you see this as a sign of change in Britain over 25 years, that things have loosened up a great deal and opened up a great deal?
A very definite sign of change. I think churches have become much more of a movement rather than a monument. I mean, gospel is a multi-billion industry in America now. It's on par with a lot of pop and musical styles.
Matty Boulay there. Must be very pleased. She got everybody together, didn't she, to try this out this morning?
That's right.
They'd never sung it before, never been together before.
That's right. They've been here from 7:30 this morning, so quite an early rise.
Look, now sometimes the Golden Jubilee all gets a little bit too much. When did she drop off?
Only about 10 minutes ago. She's worn out, had a busy day. She's been dancing and singing and waving her flag. But it's a bit too much for her now.
You need to wake her up quick, otherwise she's going to miss the Queen.
The Queen comes.
This kind of music go? Is it developing and changing all the time? I mean, last night we heard 50 years of pop and rock.
Yes.
Can you detect in these sounds change? Is it always altering? I mean, where will this be 50 years from now?
It's always altering. The gospel is a message, so any style of music really can be used to convey the message of the gospel. So nowadays we see fusion gospel styles such as rock gospel, pop gospel, hip hop gospel. And in fact, a lot of the styles we saw last night at the Palace actually came from gospel. I mean, rock and roll was a direct ancestor of gospel. Or should I say offspring of gospel as opposed to ancestor.
Rather different atmosphere here as the Queen leaves Guildhall. Crowds who waited to see her And this is the more traditional style of a royal visit. People waving flags and saying, shouting hooray and applauding her as she comes past. It's the whole Jubilee weekend has been a great series of contrasts of the old and the new, which is no doubt exactly what the people who designed it wanted us to feel. The past, the present, and the future, they keep saying. The top view of the Mall, St James's Park on the left, and down the Mall still the gospel singers. The choirs in the grandstand, but thousands of other gospel singers have gone in front of Buckingham Palace, all dressed in yellow, making a kind of streak of yellow that came down the Mall. The stagecoach schools and the stagecoach theatre arts. But there are a whole host of choirs involved, far too many for me to go through. Who are these singers and dancers here?
They're not connected with the choir in any way.
Oh right, they're just enjoying
They're just enjoying themselves. But that's the spirit of gospel, you know, anybody can join in just to have a good time.
Pearly Kings and town criers and people dressed in the Union Jack.
That's right.
Well, they've really got into the spirit of it. When the Queen arrives at the top of the Mall, there are still more gospel singers, I think, waiting for her, aren't there? You've put 500 or so up at Admiralty Arch?
That's right, yes. And they will lead her right down to the Victoria Memorial, right to the gates of Buckingham
What, they're
Palace.
going to dance in front of her down the Mall, are they?
I believe they're going to do something of that, like that, yes. I don't know if she'll join them in dancing, but we'll wait and see.
Those two lines of yellow at the top end of the Mall. The River of Gold, as it's called, and the white ensign's flying because it's Admiralty Arch. Admiralty Arch, which was built, as I said earlier, as part of the whole scheme for celebrating Queen Victoria. And the inscription at the top in Latin says roughly, in the 10th year of the reign of King Edward VII to Queen Victoria from a grateful nation, 1910. 100 years ago they did things in a style that they may not be able to do 100 years from now, but that's how this grand way came to be built, and good use being made of it today. So Ken Burton, when you say it's inclusive, this gospel, it is only Christian.
Yes.
You don't think it's not multi-religious, it's multi-ethnic but not multi-religious.
That's right. It's a very definite Christian music style, promoting positive themes which go right across the creeds.
Ecumenical, in other words. I mean, Roman Catholics, Anglicans can be, you don't have to be a Seventh-day Adventist like yourself to belong.
Absolutely not, no.
And so do people go to a church that is, so to speak, a gospel church, or do they go there specifically, for concerts and for celebrations? How does it work?
Well, people will go to church on a weekly basis and they will be fed with this sort of music. And the gospel music is very much an attraction point for people. I've heard of cases where people just been walking outside, going shopping. They've heard the great singing inside and they divert from shopping and go inside the church, and as a result they've ended up joining the church. And there are a lot of events which take place, conventions, gospel concerts, and gospel is moving out of the churches onto the big stage, from the church halls to the